We had 50 people sign up for this class. We'll see how many show up. It's about half of what signed up for some of my other classes. So it's surprising kind of because I think you guys will really enjoy this class. And it's always good to remember some of the basic things that keep you going and successful. So we still have a couple more minutes and then I'll start. Okay, it's 10 o'clock. I'm sure we'll have some people kind of join as we go along, but I want to get started. I really do enjoy teaching this class partly because it helps me remember to focus in again on the basic, most important things that we need to do to be successful. And so it helps me as much as it helps you guys. Um, Okay, never pay for CE again. Hopefully everybody knows that we have a website that has all our CE classes on it. You'll get reminders too, but yeah, you can go to our website at any point and you can see the classes that we teach and what's coming up. They're always free and they're always on Zoom. Every once in a while we'll have a lunch and learn in our office, but the ones on this Utah CE source are all on Zoom. Okay, what's going on with rates? Let's just real quick go over rates. They're important partly because they affect all of our businesses, but we don't want to focus on rates too much, right? Because are people buying right now? Yes. And so even with these high rates, there are still a lot of people that need to buy. They're moving, they're doing other things. They want to move up, they can afford it. They try to figure out a way to get their interest rate down a little bit more, whatever they have to do. So does anybody know what's going on with rates right now? Anybody follow rates or try to? Sure, we all try to. So rates are kind of a funny thing, right? Because so many different things affect them. And apparently, Israel attacked Iran. And so now we've got a little bit of bonds losing ground over that hostility in the Middle East. Things were looking a little bit better before that happened, but we're trying not to stress. And we're hoping that the Fed meeting next week will help us a little bit. But right now, conventionals in the higher sixes with good credit, and FHA is in the low sixes with good credit. Who wants to unmute and answer this question? Is now a good time to buy? I know there's not a lot of us in the Zoom, so sometimes people don't speak up quite as much, but who wants to say, is now a good time to buy? What do you tell your clients when they ask you, is now a good time to buy?
Great time to buy because rates have moderated a little bit. And at the same time, the market is in the process of balancing and they have more selection than they have in years.
Okay, okay. And what
Exactly.
did they
There's a
say
lot
to
more
you? Rates are
inventory.
high. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Donna.
Sorry, I was just saying there is a lot more inventory for buyers to pick from. So in that respect, it's good. But I think buyers are still quite cautious.
Because of these big payments, right? Somebody sits down in my office and they've got a four or five
Yes.
hundred thousand dollar house that needs a lot of work and their payments 3,000, 3,500, right? So that's kind of hard. It's a hard pill to swallow right now when they've got a lot of people who've been in the market for 20 years and they're paying less than that for a nicer house. So it just is the way it is. It's always been that way. It will probably always be that way. If you got in the market 20 years ago, you're ahead of the game. It just will always be that way. So at some point, we've got to get in the market if we're going to get in. And it is on average, a person who owns a home versus somebody who rents has on average about $400,000 more in net worth. That's a lot. So if you think about the importance of owning a home for your financial stability in the long run, it's really important. So as soon as we want to encourage people to jump in the market as soon as they can, and even if they're jumping in a condo, that's where they have to start sometimes, and that's okay. Okay, for credit for our classes, you're going to scan this QR code, or Thomas will put this, well, maybe do you have it, Thomas? Yeah, Thomas will put that link so you can click on it in the chat. Thanks. Or you can scan the QR code with your phone. I'll put that up again. You can email me as well if you can't get the QR code to work or the link to work. But you're going to be keeping track of 4 out of 5 keywords that I will give throughout the class. They ask that you turn on your cameras if you have one, and you can. That's one of the requirements the state likes to require of us so that we can kind of still do Zoom classes, which I really appreciate. I know some people hate them, but as far as convenience and saving time, they're really great. So, okay, we're going to talk today 13 steps how to increase, supercharge, and grow your business. And you'll have heard a lot of these before. And the idea being that we need to go back and remember these, and it never hurts, no matter where you are in your business, to evaluate and figure out where you are and where you want to go. So number 1, lose your stories and excuses. Number 2, have a vision, get a game plan. Number 3, get an accountability partner. Number 4, believe in yourself, get systems, develop the right habits, develop discipline, sharpen the saw. We'll talk about what that means. Take consistent, professional, massive action daily. Are you ever done as a real estate agent? Do you ever wake up in the morning and go, I made it, I don't have to do anything anymore? No, right? Same with loan officers. No matter how good of a month you had the before, you got to do it again. So we're always trying to continue, improve, keep the business going and flowing. Um, Analyze, tweak, and improve. Don't give up. Do not commit fraud. Be ethical and know the laws. So we'll see how far we get. Sometimes we end up not getting as far. Sometimes people don't comment as much when we get further. But everybody think for a minute, what is holding you back? Now you could say, okay, I'm super successful, nothing's holding me back, but we all have things that hold us back. So just think for a minute about something that is holding you back, something that you could do better on. I want you kind of while we're talking and throughout this class to just kind of think about, okay, where am I and where do I want to go? And how can I improve? So if you even write down one thing in each of those areas and move forward in one area, that's going to be great because we can't do it all, but we can pick one thing to do better. And so what's holding you back? Give me something that could be holding a real estate agent back. It doesn't have to be you if you're nervous to share, but what constraints are you facing as you work towards your goals? What constraints are real estate agents facing right now? You can put it in the chat or you can unmute, either way.
I know for me, sometimes I don't want to bug people too much, So I'll talk to them but I've learned recently, I've had some good friends that have, I've talked to about when you want to sell, I'd love to have you interview me or let me come present something to you. And then I've called them, I've not kind of kept on it for a while, and then I'll call them several months later and it's like, oh, I've already picked an agent. And I'm like, what? You know?
Yeah, how did that
So,
happen?
and they're like, oh yeah, well, yeah. They're like, they've kept in touch with me and they've just been, and I'm thinking, well, okay, I could have done that, but I didn't want to just always have conversations about real estate, you know? So I talked to them often, but didn't bring it up in conversations for several months because I thought, well, they know I don't need to keep bugging them and reminding them. So for me, that's been something that I've thought, oh, I don't want to be one of those pushy people, but I've realized with some of these closer friends that I just blew me away that they didn't even contact me. I've realized you actually do need to kind of be a little bit of a squeaky wheel, or at least keep that, you know, conversation a little more often than I was doing, even
Yeah,
with good friends.
that's
So,
interesting. That's a really good comment. How many real estate agents are there in Utah approximately?
oh wow, I I
Last
would
time I
say
looked, which
in the
has
whole
been a while.
state.
Yeah, last
It,
time I looked, it's been a while. Kathy, do you
it's,
know?
yeah, it went from 23,500, I think, to 18,000.
Okay.
So it's the first big, huge drop.
Okay, okay. So 18,000 people in the state of Utah. Everybody knows an agent. Everybody's, lives by an agent. Everybody's seen agents sign. I think Dawn is correct that, that's one of the really hard things is how much do I follow up, right? And that's a question everybody always asks and wants to know the perfect follow-up strategy, and I'm not sure there is one. But too little and they go with someone else, and too much and they get annoyed. So maybe trying to figure that out is really important, and be careful that you don't let that bother you, right? We should be thinking, instead of I'm bugging them, they want to use me. I'm the best. And they'll be so sad if they don't use me, and they'll have a better experience if they do use me. And that should be running your thoughts as you're talking to people, right? That I have something to offer, and we're not bugging them, we're making sure they're taken care of. So that can maybe help with that. But I do hear that a lot too. Well, I don't want to bug people, I don't want to be that squeaky wheel or that salesy. Patrick says sticking to the routine. Okay. That's really hard in our businesses, right? Because we love the flexibility that being a real estate agent has, right? We don't have to go into the office all the time. We can, there's a lot of moms with kids that can be a realtor and be able to do things when they have time. But that's also the negative part of being a real estate agent. You don't have somebody saying you need to be in the office at 8, you need to be here the whole time, or you need to be making sure your calendar is full, you need to be calling and doing so many calls, right? So you don't have that, and that can be good and bad. Consistency, Chris says. How important is consistency? Again, no matter how many deals you did last month, everybody starts at 0 the next month. And so we all have to keep going. We have to be consistent. Okay. Um, so just kind of think about, okay, what things do we have to overcome? Those aren't the most important things I want you to think about today, but it's good to realize that there are some things that we need to overcome and that we need to watch out for so that you don't get stuck in a rut. Okay, number 1, lose the stories and excuses that are holding you back. So, how many of us have families? How many of us have kids? How many of us have problems? How many of us have health problems, money problems, um, relationship problems, right? So we all have things, we all can make excuses if we choose to. Everybody has something going on in their life. And so one of my rules is when I get really sad or when something happens and I'm super upset, and I won't be able to think of her name. She's blonde. She's on the internet. You maybe when I tell you, you'll know, but 5-minute rule, right? So I'm going to count down. And she also talks about counting to 5. When she was super depressed, she talked about getting out of bed. She would just count to 5 and then she had to do it. And that helped her get out of the rut that she was in. Or a 5-minute rule where, okay, we have things that are hard. We have things that are sad. Give yourself a minute to grieve, cry, be sad, and then pick yourself up and let's go again. Because if you can do something about it, do it. If you can't, then we still have to keep going. So everybody has them. We don't know we have them sometimes, even. We don't know that we're in that rut. Sometimes we need somebody from the outside to tell us, wait a minute, start over. This is just an excuse. So anyway, we can make excuses or we can make money, but we can't do both. So maybe write that down. We can make excuses or we can make money, but we can't do both. Put that on your mirror somewhere. Okay, let's talk about the elephant. I like this story. When elephants are little, they put a chain on them and stake them to the ground sometimes. And as they grow up, they're plenty big to move that stake and to get away, and they don't because they've learned from a tiny age that they can't move that stake and that they're not, they can't do it. And I watch people when we're babies, and even like my kids lately, I'm like, okay, when they were a baby, they came into this world thinking they could do anything, right? We teach them how to feel. We teach each other how to feel by how we treat each other. And so be really careful and analyze what things are holding you back that you could let go of, that really don't need to be something holding you back, that it's your mind that's telling you. And that if you just talk back to your mind, you could make a difference in your business and in your life. Nothing binds you except your thoughts. Nothing limits you except your fear, and nothing controls you except your beliefs. So we need to be really careful what thoughts come in our mind. And I think it would be really cool if you guys made a goal to just for an hour, notice what thoughts are coming in your mind when you're working, when you're in different situations, right? Some of us have figured out the work environment, some of us have figured out the home environment, some of us are struggling in different areas. But watch what things you're telling yourself. I was talking to my son the other day and I'm like, how many thoughts are going in your brain that aren't true? That you think are true. We all have thoughts that come in our brain, and every thought that comes in your brain is not true. So sometimes we think it is, but that's just a lie that we tell ourselves. So notice what thoughts you're thinking. Notice how you're thinking about yourself. Notice how you think about other people when you meet them, and watch your thoughts so that they don't limit your ability to function in the way that you want to and meet your goals.
All my thoughts are not true, but everything I read on the internet is true.
That's another really good point, Lynn. Everything that we see on the internet is not true. That's another problem my kids, I think, have sometimes is they're always scrolling and looking at all the stuff on the internet and they believe everything they see. It's kind of a weird, I mean, I grew up in a world where there wasn't internet at all, right? And it was after I was married before the internet was even a thing. It's definitely a different world we have now where we're trying to compete with all this junk. And it's not all bad, right? But we have to really limit what we decide to put in our brains and what we decide to believe. Okay, Muhammad Ali, impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. How many things do we think are impossible that we could do, right? Like when we talk about there's nothing that's impossible, we throw that around a little bit too, right? If you think it, you can do it. And for a long time, I remember thinking, well, that's the stupidest saying I've ever heard, because how can I just think something and it will happen? That's like magic or something. The idea, and I've actually seen it work for me, is that your mind is powerful. And if you want something and if you tell yourself you want it, you'll figure out a way to get it. Now, when I was a stay-at-home mom, a lot of you know the story, but I was a stay-at-home mom for like 23 years and decided to get out of a marriage. And um, we didn't have any retirement or anything. And you know how hard divorces are on finances. So I had to start completely over. And I remember thinking, okay, if I can just get enough money to, make my payments and, I didn't have very much child support or alimony or anything. And I had about a year until I had to be like totally on my own. And my dad had to co-sign on my house or I would have lost it because I just had 3 little part-time jobs. And my dad had to pay for my attorney because, you know, the bank accounts were closed. My phone stopped getting paid for, like all the things. So I remember starting this job and it was kind of one of those things that was a little bit hard. You guys can maybe think back to when you very first started to be a real estate agent, and it's overwhelming to start something new, and you need somebody to help you, and you need a mentor, and you need somebody to show you how to do it. And I was really lucky. Most of us don't have that as much as we really need it. And I came in as a transaction manager. And my boss said one day to me, and I was in a really kind of a bad place, right? In the middle of a divorce, and the kids are all upset, and you're kind of a disaster. I don't even know why he hired me now, but he did. And one of the things he taught me was to think bigger. So here I was just thinking, if I can just do this, if I can just do this, if I can just make 40,000 a year, if I can just make 50,000 a year, because we had always lived on that. And so I thought, well, if I can just do that. But to make that's one of the biggest gifts he gave to me was to think bigger, to do what you want to do, to figure out a way to make your dreams come true and just instead of just existing. And I'll always be grateful for that. So at the end of the day, I was able to tear down the house we lived in and build a new one. And I'm still not where I need to be, but I'm getting closer, right? And I'm trying to make things happen. So my point in saying that is that seemed impossible to me when I started. The thought that I could tear that house down and build my dream house, that seemed impossible. And everybody thought I was crazy. And there's always going to be naysayers who are going to tell you you can't do it and it's not possible. And this is a terrible time to build a house. And why would you tear down a house that's just fine? Why wouldn't you just live in it? Well, I didn't want to. So, sometimes we can do the things that we want to do if we allow ourselves the gift of thinking bigger. And part of that is thinking, what do I want? So think for a minute, what do you want? Are you where you want to be? Are you making the money that you want to be making? Are you doing as many deals as you want to be doing? And that's something I want you to think about because it's not impossible. It's just a matter of how bad do you want it and figuring out how to do it. Okay, being a victim versus being in charge. Being victimized is inevitable. We're always going to have somebody that's mean to us or calls us names or says you can't do it or, right? Anybody who's not doing it is usually somebody who's going to say that you can't do it. But being a victim is a choice. So people play the victim card all the time. 90% of the time, they don't even know they're doing it. They've been doing it for so long. But when we play the victim, we give control of our success away to other people. So don't give control of your success away to other people. Don't look for all the things that are going wrong in your life or all the people who've said no. So anytime we say we can't do something because of someone else, we're playing the victim card. So notice if you're, just kind of notice and be open to what's going on. And then, once you realize something, that's when you can make a change. It's really hard to make a change if you don't see a problem. So, you have to be able to see what's going on to be able to make a change, but be careful not to play the victim. So excuses are real. I want to make that super clear. We have real hard things that go on in our lives. And that I'm not trying to say that, the things that happen in our lives aren't real and very, very difficult. But the excuses keep us safe. And what our brains are wired to do is to be safe, to stay alive, to be okay. And so we're really kind of going against our human nature if we try to get outside of that and really put ourselves out there. And maybe you can think back to the first phone call you made, or the first person you talked to, or the first deal you did, and how different you feel now as you have some experience, and how you had to. Now, not everybody has to do this, but for me, I really had to learn to put myself out there and to sell myself. That did not come natural to me at all, and it still doesn't. And sometimes at the end of the day, I have to go home and watch a TV show just to be able to calm down and regroup, and because it's not something that's my natural thing is to just be like, here, come talk to me, use me. I'm going to be the best person you're ever going to have loans with, right? Like, so there are some people that it's just very human nature for them, but if you're not feeling uncomfortable, then you're probably not achieving your top goals, right? So if you haven't felt uncomfortable for a while, think of something that might help you elevate your game plan, and it may be uncomfortable. Um, okay, any questions at this point? Any stories you want to share? Okay. Um, again, everybody's got a whirlwind going on. You could have somebody come into your office who's top producer and they've got something going on in their life. They're choosing to focus on what they can do and not on what they can't change. Now, that doesn't mean you don't take care of things. When your kid needs to go to the doctor, we take them to the doctor. When somebody gets hurt, we help them. Okay. That doesn't mean we don't take care of them, but we don't use them as an excuse to not get our work done. So if somebody comes in my office and let's say I'm talking to one of my colleagues and how come you have so many deals? I don't know. I keep doing things, right? What if they say sometimes you'll hear people say things like, well, I just didn't get my marketing done. Oh, well, why not? Well, this happened and this happened and this happened, right? So the idea being, what is your most important thing as a real estate agent? It's your number one thing. Your number one job as a real estate agent.
To get myself doing something.
Okay. Okay. And how do you do something? You have a lead, right? Then you're doing something.
Well, and it could be even less than that. It's just getting up and getting out and meeting people, talking to people and building relationships. Because with my personality, I know it's easy for me to just stay at home and hide if I want to, and then wonder why no one's knocking on my door to buy houses.
Why? Yeah, why is this happening? Okay, Patrick says prospecting. Larry says serving people. Okay, so I think Lynn, you're totally right. I want you to think of your number one job as lead generation. Okay, so that's what you're talking about, right? Talking to people, getting yourself out there, marketing, right? So lead generation is your number one job. You have to be able to generate leads to be able to close deals. And so make sure that you are spending time, like Lynn said, talking to people, going out, getting yourself out there, open houses. There's lots of different things, but make sure that the majority of your time really should be spent marketing, unless you have a lot of deals going on. But even when you have a lot of deals going on, don't neglect your marketing, because what happens? You have 5 deals this month, you're running around, you're busy, you're helping all those deals close. Hopefully you're working with a good loan officer so you're not having to babysit too much. But you're making sure all those deals happen, and oh shoot, I didn't get up and market today. Well, I had to go help with this, and I had the inspection for this, and I needed to meet the appraiser for this. And then tomorrow comes and oh, I didn't get my marketing done. And then the month all your deals close, and what does your pipeline look like? And now we're like starting over again, right? So ideally, we want to remain stable. And to do that, you've got to be super consistent with your marketing so that you always got some more people coming. Because when you very first start, about how long does it take? I mean, it's different for everybody, but ideally, whatever you're doing today in marketing is going to give you fruits in about 3 to 6 months. Okay. And so once you get ramped up, don't stop, right? Right when you're starting to reap your fruits, keep going. And as you have deals, keep marketing. Um, good job, Kathy. Get up, clean up, show up, even more so with deals going on. Okay, so even when you have deals, I think, Patrick, even when I have deals, I got to keep marketing because I need to get more. The successful deal with their life issues and still get their work done. The unsuccessful take care of everything else and give their work whatever is left over. Okay, 4 excuses that hold us back. I'm too busy. Now, I don't like the word busy because why? What's wrong with being busy?
You can be busy, not really achieving anything, or spinning your wheels on the mud, or even deluding yourself into thinking that, oh, well, I wake up and I'm doing all these activities, but they're not really resulting in any net benefits to growing your business or promoting your activities.
Exactly. Exactly, right? So I remember having an assistant one time and I went in and he was like, I've been so busy. I'm like, what? I don't have any appointments on my calendar. What have you been busy with, right? So we need to be busy with the right things. And so that's why I don't really like the word busy because it's easy for people. It's like when you ask your friend to go and hang out and they're like, I'm too busy. Okay, well, I think I need new friends then, right? Because you always make time for the people that you want to be around and the things that you want to do. It's like when you need to exercise and you're like, I'm too busy. Okay, well, you don't really want to exercise then, right? That's me. I don't really want to exercise, but I need to. So, that I'm too busy excuse, nobody likes to hear that. Friends, business, people, nobody likes to hear that. Um, and like when I go into my assistant's office now, what I want to hear is, sure, I'll get that done. Right? I don't want to hear if he's already busy or if he has a lot to do. Yep, I'll get that done. So that's kind of how I try to be. And it's hard when you have a lot going on because we can have a lot of things going on, and that's a real thing. But nobody wants to feel like you're too busy for them, especially in our industry, right? We want people to answer the phone, and your clients want you to answer the phone. And we all know when a seller's agent doesn't answer the phone, it gets really hard to do a deal. So you can have a lot going on, but try not to be too busy. I'm not ready. I'll do that tomorrow. Um, I'll start on Monday. Like we've all done that probably. Well, I'll start my diet on Monday. Well, I'm gonna eat whatever I want right now. I'll try again on Monday. Um, and then the fear of making a mistake, that's a huge one. I remember when I first started, I needed to go to lunch with real estate agents. I needed to call people on the phone that I didn't know. I didn't know everything yet. And I mean, let's be honest, do we ever know everything in real estate and lending, right? Things are changing. We see the different things in every deal that we do almost. So we're always learning. But not doing something for fear of making a mistake is very real excuse that holds people back.
Well,
Sometimes you just have
also,
to jump in. Go ahead, Patrick.
I was just going to say, also being busy though, and not having any results is really self-defeating. So if you're not constantly reevaluating what busy work you're doing and the net results of that, I mean, you're really ultimately harming yourself the most because there's not many people, especially in this business, that can go 6 months and be quote unquote busy and not have any results and have family, peers, coworkers, your brokerage be happy with what you consider to be busy. So, I mean, yes, it's a challenge, and as marketing continually evolves and changes, it's something we have to reevaluate. But honestly, I think one of the worst things we can do for ourselves and our businesses is to be moving around and technically busy, but not producing any results, because that's like a double whammy at that point.
For sure. Because what do you decide to cut out, right? And how do you figure that out? So you have to constantly be evaluating. Because I think, Patrick, if you aren't evaluating and cutting things out, then you will end up getting busy and at the point where you're not having results because you're just adding things that aren't the top things that are going to give you business.
I mean,
So
there's
that's
so many variables that are attached to this too. I see a lot of
true.
people too read about it all the time where agents will get desperate, or brokerages too, when things slow down and they're not using the correct or effective techniques. And then they're like, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll buy a bunch of leads that I can't afford really. And then they're desperate, so they don't really vet the leads per se. And then they're buying leads that have already been used or recycled. And you're calling people and they're like, seriously, never call me again and take my name off your list. And after you've spent a bunch of money on that or signed up for some contract, and then you just get more desperate. Then you're like, oh, well, the leads thing, maybe I'll just buy even more leads and so it's just this race to the bottom that unless you're evaluating where it's going or take some time to pause and really analyze what's working and what's not, it's a really challenging prospect because then you become your own worst enemy and you talk yourself out of everything that maybe could work. And then you just fizzle out or burn out.
Yep. We talked about 23,000 down to 18,000, right? And it happens every day in
I
both
mean,
of our
that's a good thing if you look at that too.
I know
'Cause
what you mean.
I mean, there's a lot of people that watch like $1 million listing and they're like, oh, I can do that. I could just show up in a suit. And so, again, I don't want to ever discourage anyone, but really, there's more to this than, a TikTok post and a new suit. So,
Right, right,
yeah.
exactly. Okay, so the best decision is the right decision. The second best decision is the wrong decision. And the worst decision is no decision at all. So we're going to make mistakes on the way up our ladders. And that's okay. We learn from our mistakes and we get better and we tweak and improve as we go along. Michael Jordan, everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. And he said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. I really like that one. So I'm not saying go ahead and fail. I'm just saying when you do, learn from it, pick yourself up, and go on to the next. Kobe Bryant said there's no such thing as failure, there's only learning. Booze don't stop dunks. Okay, so what are you constantly facing? We kind of talked about this. Okay, we kind of talked about this. Okay, so you have to have, what did I just do? I don't know what I did. Let me move that. Okay. Everything starts with your vision, where you want to go, what you want to accomplish. So in one sentence, write down, where do I want to be? By this time next year, just whatever, the first thing comes to your mind, where do I want to be?
Even sorry, do you have a Bryson in the weight room?
Do I? Oh, shoot. There's people in my weight room.
Okay, that should work then.
Sorry. I haven't given the first word yet, so I guess they're lucky since I wasn't paying attention and it's already 10:30. Okay, sorry. Everything starts with your vision. Where do you want to go? Okay, so did you write down where do I want to be in a year? It can be how much do I want to make? It could be how many deals do I want to do? It could be anything you want, right? Because how is success defined? Is there one way to define success? What do you think? Is there one way to define success, Russ?
I was just kind of thinking as you said that yeah, achieving the goals that you set.
Okay, so are everybody's goals the same?
No.
No. So that's the definition of success I like. Whatever it is you want to be that. You're successful. You don't have to have the most money. You don't have to have the biggest house. You don't have to have the fanciest car. If that's what you want, get it. But that's not a definition of success. Doing what you want to do and enjoying your life, I feel like is a definition of success that I want. And it looks different for everybody. So, okay, you cannot create systems, habits, plans, nothing until you have your game plan, right? So that's why I'm saying, where do you want to go? That's your first step to figure out where do I want to go and what do I want to do? And then what is success to you? You've got to figure that out, right? Is it building a new house? Is it helping my kids? Is it paying for college for my kids? Is it being able to help them if they're in a bad situation? Is it going on vacations with my wife? Is it going on vacations with my husband? Is it going on vacations with my friend? Whatever it is, that is what you need to figure out so that you can have your own success and you can feel good about what you're doing no matter what anybody else thinks. So I would encourage you to have where do I want to be in a year, but then also where do I want to be in 5 years? So we can have some long-term goals and we can have some shorter term goals. And then we're going to try to figure out, okay, everything I do on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual basis is measured against what I want to accomplish and where I want to be. And so this is going to look a little bit different for everyone because everyone is on a little bit different journey and everybody's success is measured a little bit differently. Okay, so this kind of goes back to what Patrick was talking about. We've got to tweak and improve. So if I'm in an airplane and I'm the pilot, and if I only move 1 degree in what the direction I'm going, I'm going to end up totally in the wrong place. Just 1 degree. I didn't change anything really, right? I just barely changed it. And here I'm going to end up in a totally wrong place. So what we're constantly doing when we're trying to figure out where we want to end up and what we need to do to get there is changing a degree and then changing back a degree and then changing a degree and changing back a degree so that we can end up where we want. Success, I feel like, is not, and I'll show you this on another slide, it's not this straight line to my goal. It's kind of like this, right? You don't want to be like this. You want to be like this to get to your goal, but you're going to have failures and oops and dang it, oh, I got sick or something happened or I went on vacation or whatever, right? But that's kind of how I look at success and getting to the goal is it's not a straight thing. Okay, here's a business. If you guys want these slides, you can email me and I'll send them to you. So your annual goal, number of units, I want to sell 12 houses this year. I want to sell 20 houses this year, whatever it is. What's your floor? I have to sell 2 houses this year. I have to sell 5 houses this year. You want to have a floor, and then you want to have this big, audacious, hairy goal that is out of this world, right? Sometimes you'll hear people say if you're meeting your goals, they're not high enough. But yeah, you want to know, I can't ever go below 3 or 4 deals, a year, or I can't ever go below 10 deals a year. Now we talked a little bit about what's going on in your mindset. That's your why. What is your why? Why do you do what you do? Is it just for you? Is it for your kids? Is it because you want to spend more time with your kids? Is it because you have to, because you have no retirement and you're all alone? Like, it doesn't matter what it is, but it has to be something so powerful that when you talk about it, you get emotional. And maybe that's just for me. But I want something that drives me that's so powerful that I get emotional about it. Because in the times when I am thinking, I'm going to quit, this sucks, and my underwriter's not doing what I think that she should do, and my processor's not doing what they should do, and why is this so hard? Then I want to be able to think about my why and pick myself up, because sometimes you do feel like you're in a boxing ring in this industry and you've getting punched and you're just barely trying to get up, but you only fail if you don't get up. Okay. So find something that's you're so passionate about that it keeps you going in the worst of times and in the days when you just think, I don't want to do this anymore. Because you'll have those days. I'm sure some of you who've been in the business for a while have had a day like that. And then you wake up the next morning and you keep going. What do you need to eliminate to become successful? Think about your stories, your excuses, what's holding you back. And then another thing to think about is who is your coach or your accountability partner? Now, oftentimes we talk about this when you're very first starting, right? You need an accountability partner, you need a coach. And that can be true, but I also feel like that it can be very helpful at times to get you back on track or to remember the basics and to get back to those basics that work. So like for me, I think it was about a year ago, my brother-in-law started being a loan officer in Oregon. And I just texted him. I didn't want to do this with anybody in my office for whatever reason. But I just told him, I'm like, okay, can I text you every time I do my calls? We call it power hour, where you're like doing your marketing. Can I text you every day when I do my marketing? Because I'm not doing it as consistently as I would like to. And so then I would text him and he would text me, and we were helping each other get back on track. And we did it for about a month, and it made a big difference, right? I was noticing when I'd get to the end of the day and I hadn't done my marketing that I hadn't prioritized the way that I needed to. So accountability partners and coaches can be really good, even if you've been in the business for a long time. You can call one of your friends and just say, hey, can we just text each other when we get our marketing done for the day. I need to get back into marketing consistently. So sharpening the saw is something that we talk about sometimes. It works the best if you have a time that you do it every day. So some people like to listen to podcasts in the morning when they're exercising or walking. Some people like to listen to them when they're driving in the car. That's me. I drive a lot, and so I'll have something that I'm listening to. But basically, sharpening the saw is becoming an expert in your field. So I know some of you have been in the business for a long time, and you still are seeing things that you haven't seen before. Is that true? Are you still learning things? Okay. So sharpening the saw, the idea being read a self-help book, read a book about real estate. Ask your colleagues, what's a really good book that you've read that helped you in your business? Sometimes I'll hand out books to my agents too. Like I've been giving out the 12-week year, which is a really fun book to read. So that can be part of your sharpening the saw time, but have that be outside of business hours so that you're able to focus on the things you need to during those important hours of the day. What time each day do you do your daily planning? At the end of the day, do you plan your next day? Do you know who you're going to call? Do you know what you have on your schedule? Do you just take a quick peek at your calendar and make sure you've got everything ready? What's your morning routine to win each day? Do you get up and drink a coffee? Do you get up and have breakfast? Do you get up and go for a walk? Do you get up and sit in the sun? What helps you win each day? What helps you energize? And then what time each day is your power hour? This is the one that sometimes you'll hear me call diarrhea time, because if you have diarrhea, you don't let anything get in the way of taking care of that business. So that's how you want to think about your power hour. You don't let anybody take that time from you, because it's one of your most important times to be able to get your business. And so we laugh about that a lot, but it's a really good way of explaining how important it is and how we never would let anybody steal the time like we let people steal our marketing time. Okay. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this. If you're hitting your goals, it's not high enough. So I like to have, a top goal, but then also a minimum that I need to hit. Goals are here to stretch you. And a lot of times I think you'll find if you start doing this, or if you've done this in the past, you end up doing more than you ever thought you could. If you look back in a 5-year time frame, you can't believe you were where you are. And that's the kind of goals you want, is to help you. So the more you think about it, the more you put it in your brain. That's why I say sometimes write something on a mirror. So I have 2 mirrors in my bathroom, and I write, okay, this is my goal. This is where I want to be. Every morning I look at it, try to figure out how I can get there faster. Okay. Get an accountability partner. We talked a little bit about this already. Even people like Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, sometimes those are the people that actually reach out to these coaches that go and try to help these players. So Michael Jordan tells the story that his coach, and I'm not gonna remember the name, but the guy who he worked with for a lot of years, he was handing out flyers in the Bulls locker room, and he didn't even get one. The guy didn't even give it to Michael Jordan, because why would he need anything? And Michael Jordan was the only one who called him back. He picked up one of the other guy's flyers off the floor, and he was the only one who called him back. So no matter where you are in the process of being more and more successful as an agent, you can always benefit from learning from other people. And we are doing, and I don't know how many of you have come to them, a lead agent series. So every month we've had an elite agent come and talk to us. And this coming Wednesday, we have another elite agent coming to talk to us. It's 10 a.m. It's a Zoom, and they've all been really good. So if you're interested in that, let me know and I can sign you up for that. It's just a really good way to learn from agents. If you haven't been attending them, you can reach out to me and I'll send you all the links, because we record them. So if you can't come, still sign up, and then I'll send you the recording. You could listen to it when you're driving in the car. They're all really good. Each one of them has a little bit different take on what they did to be successful, and it's been really good to listen to them. That's next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Okay, believe in yourself, unwavering faith in yourself. Okay, that's super important. Now, do we all have doubts and self-doubts and negative self-talk? Yes. But to be successful, you're going to want to really like hone in on how to believe in yourself and sell yourself. You are born from greatness because you are born from greatness. Success at anything will always come down to this focus and effort, and we control both. Your success or lack of success is 100% on you. Have you ever known somebody who couldn't take any responsibility for anything they did? We probably all know somebody like that, right? It's one of the most annoying things, traits. And sometimes it's, I say this with love, but it's a childish kind of thing, right? Because, kids as everything's about them, right? When they're little and we're helping them with everything and I feel like it's easy for them to blame me for everything. And as my kids have gotten older, I really like when they hit about 16 or 17 and I can say, I'm not your secretary anymore. I don't want to be your secretary. Get a calendar, figure out what you need to do, make your appointments. And it takes them a while, but really we want to, as successful human beings, take 100% accountability for our actions and for what happens. And so, you know how it is as agents, if you recommend somebody, it comes back on you, right? And that's one of the things that's really hard sometimes. I recommended a credit repair company recently and we did not have a good experience. And so I've been interviewing new credit repair companies because it's too stressful to recommend somebody and have it not be a good experience. And so, you know, we have to make sure we're working with people who get us to the finish line, who help us, who help our clients, who treat our clients with respect, and who are very professional. Okay, how do you develop unwavering faith in yourself? Somebody unmute and tell me. If somebody came to you and said, "How can I possibly believe in myself?" What would you tell them?
Set goals with smaller steps that are easier to obtain, and then absorb the results, and then set a new goal that's more challenging. So learn to walk before running a marathon.
Right. Okay, I love that because,
I've got an idea.
yeah, please, Jeff.
I would find out what's their issue.
Mm,
I mean, if you're guessing basically, if you don't know what that is, and then discuss it, how they got there, what triggers it, you know, and then identify that, and then maybe give them some things that they could do to improve that, because it's all within. I don't care who you are.
I
Uh,
know.
Nobody has control over you unless you allow that to happen. So it's got to start with you, and then you got to just know how to move forward with it.
Okay, I like that too. So let's just kind of look inward for a second. We have to know, like somebody else, it's just easier to talk about it when it's not yourself, right? Which is why I said somebody comes to you and says they have a problem. But let's say, like Jeff said, okay, why is it? And sometimes they don't know, right? How do I get to the point where I don't believe in myself anymore? And everybody has a different track record or things that happen to them, possibly abuse or trauma or things like that, right? So I think that is a really good thing to try to figure out, okay, where did that come from? But I also think that even just tiny successes can give you a little bit of a good feeling. And I noticed that I have one son that has been super depressed. And even the little things, he cannot feel success about anything. It got to the point where like it didn't matter what it was, you had to go back to, okay, if you get up on time, that's a good success. If you take a shower today, that's a good success, right? So how far are we in that direction? And everybody's in a little bit different place, but really and truly being able to notice and feel some sense of accomplishment is one of the biggest things that I've seen as far as like depression. And what do I know? I'm not a psychologist, but the idea being that we have to be able to feel um, some sense of accomplishment. So, for example, Jeff, if you get up in the morning and you do your marketing, do you feel a sense of accomplishment yourself without somebody else saying to you, you should feel a sense of accomplishment.
That's a great question because honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether it's real estate, whatever. I always kind of reflect back, what did I get done? I'm kind of a to-do list kind of guy. So if I look back and I can say I did these things, I'm like, okay, I accomplished something that had value. If there's days which I didn't get much done, it kind of like upsets me a little bit. I don't let it get down. I just like, okay, tomorrow I've got to pick up and finish off where I didn't complete those tasks. But I think that by, like you were saying, finishing things, accomplishing them is self-gratifying, I think. And it shows that you have worth and that, because everybody has worth, but I mean, it's just by turning around and looking at something you did, that can give you some real satisfaction.
Yeah.
Eden,
Yeah.
have you? I've heard about the book, and I actually haven't read it yet, but I've kind of heard a few things about it. But there's that one book written by some general or something that's just called "Make Your Bed."
Oh, I read
Like,
that.
okay, so like, is that kind of on that same, what you're talking about? I mean, start with this little thing and then make your day better and better or whatever. How does
Mhm.
that? I haven't read
Yeah.
it yet.
It's a really small book, but the idea being that like that you have to accomplish something and that you have to get things done, right? And so like that is a little thing that you can do every day. And when you come back to get in bed, you made your bed, right? You know you did something that day. And so I really like that. And I don't know why some people's brains are wired to get and I don't know how that happens where it's so hard sometimes. I think it's so life can be so unfair. But at the end of the day it just is, right? And we can choose to keep living in that space or we can choose to change it. And it really is all up to us, just like Jeff said, like we have the ability to change our lives, and some of us do it and some of us don't. It's just the reality. But you do have the ability to change your life and to make it better. And we have to believe that. And I think in getting up and doing things, like Jeff said, okay, well, some days I go to bed and I didn't accomplish anything. We all have days like that, right? So we can choose to have another day where we didn't accomplish anything, or we can choose to make our list and get a few things done. And I always feel better when I get stuff done. And but again, we can't do that for somebody else. They have to do it for themselves. And so that 100% responsibility, if you're not being successful, it's not because of the rates, it's not because there's no inventory, it's not because there's no buyers, it's not because nobody's selling their house, right? It's something going on within you that needs a little bit of a tweak. And so, there's always going to be those people who complain about those things, but we want to be the people who aren't complaining, who are figuring out, who are talking to people, who are making our lives better day by day. And we're going to have days when we fall down and we just pick ourselves back up.
Hey, Eden, we're an hour in with no words.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I do this all the time. Okay, let's do 2 words, mindset and grit. Thanks, Russ.
No problem.
Okay, so number 1 is mindset, and number 2 is grit. Make sure you write those down. I'll put the QR code up again and we'll put the link in the chat again. Okay, is your mind a growth mind or a problem mind? Think about that for a second. Just think about the last month. Is your mind a growth mind or a problem mind? How do you look at life? Do you look at life as the glass half empty, the glass is half full, right? We've heard this when we were younger.
I'm assuming both is an option, right?
Both is an option, yeah. So I
I,
have one son who, and I talk about my kids a lot, but my life is pretty full with my kids, but I really want to help them and they don't really want my help, right? But he went to the dentist yesterday and he hates the dentist. His dad hates the dentist. It's this whole thing. And I'm like, okay, if you don't go to the dentist, then your teeth don't get cleaned and then you get more cavities and then you have more money that you have to pay. And he's like, dentists are just trying to steal my money. I'm like, they're not trying to steal your money. They're trying to make sure that you're okay. Well, they charge too much. Well, anyway, there was always something. I'm like, why can't you just calm your brain and realize that you want to keep your teeth clean so that you don't have, like, I don't understand the argument that's constant. So there's sometimes a disconnect in our brains, and I feel like it's habitual, if that makes sense. So you learn to look for the negative, and then all you can see is the negative.
Yeah, I have a comment.
Yeah,
I don't have the answers for everything, but I do know that successful people do not focus on negative issues. Um, you can't move forward if you're looking in the past.
right.
And if you're always thinking about negative stuff, that's what you're attracting is negative things and events. So I think you have to always monitor your mind. What are you thinking about? How's it affecting you? What's your mood? What's your belief system? And learn to take control of that and not just let it wander. Because if you do, then you're going to find that you're just mediocre. But if you have, goals, tracks, those things, and look for good things because there are good things out there, you're going to find them. But if you're looking for the bad, you're going to find what you're looking for, basically.
I would
So
agree.
yeah, and so given that, just always try to look for the. I mean, even bad experiences can be great experiences if you look what you learn from them and use that and move forward. A lot of great people believe in that, and I can see that's true.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think that people who are looking for negative, it's almost like they're attracting negativity. And so you want to limit the time you spend around people who are looking for negative because it's catching almost. Um, it's just a habitual way of life. And I don't believe that you can't change it. I believe that you can decide to change habits. I've seen it happen, and sometimes I fall back into that negative mindset, but I've seen it happen with my own career, with my own life as it's totally taken a right turn that I can choose to focus on all the things that have happened to me and why it sucks and why nobody helped me or whatever, right? Like anybody can do that. Or I can choose to focus on I get to take care of myself and I get to do what I want and I get to help my kids any way I want. And I don't have to ask anybody about what I put in my house or how I build my house or anything, right? So we can try to find positive in anything. And I think it's so beneficial. It takes about the same amount of time as to be negative, and it takes about the same amount of energy to be negative as to be positive. So I really believe if you're struggling with negative thoughts, just start um, talking back to yourself. I do that sometimes. Shut up. I don't want to listen to that, right? Because these sometimes we have these thoughts that just tell us you can't do it, the rates are too high. I don't know if you're gonna ever have a new client. I do that sometimes when my pipeline gets in. I'm never gonna get another loan. Oh no, it's okay. And we do. So anyway, okay. There's lots of videos that we can listen to. I'm going to send you a list if you want. Sometimes I'll listen to the videos, but today I think we'll just go. Okay, so learning will help you develop unwavering faith in yourself, right? The more you know, the more confident you will be as you are walking in your realtor shoes, right? So knowledge is super important. I feel much more confident as a loan officer than I did the first day I started because I've learned and I try to make sure that I know. And if an underwriter sends me something back and I don't understand why, then I'm asking the underwriter, why did you do this? I'm not just taking their word for it. I want to know because ideally I submit to an underwriter everything they need and I don't need to ask them, right? Now that doesn't happen very often because we have all sorts of different people with different incomes and different things. But ideally, I want to know why we're doing it so that I can explain to my borrowers why they had to do it and help them get it. Okay, remember though, the lowest form of learning is knowledge, meaning those that just learn and do not apply are at the same level as those that don't learn at all. So when we learn something about ourselves, we need to apply it, right? If you figure out, okay, I am getting more, if I call 30 people, I usually get one lead. What does that tell you? How many people are you going to have to call to get 5 leads if that's what you want for the week, right? That gives you a metric to be able to see, okay, I'm getting to where I need to be. Do not fear failure. In
What did
fact,
you say again?
what? What'd I say?
What did you say again? Lowest form of what? The
Oh,
lowest
the
form of what
lowest
is
form of
learning?
learning is knowledge, learning.
Is knowledge. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so just knowing that. But if you just learn and do not apply, you're at the same level of those that don't learn at all. Okay, do not fear failure. We've talked about that. Fall often, fall fast, or fail often, fail fast, fail forward. Small successes, as you rise and grow from each defeat, you will become stronger and stronger. So we talked a little bit about this, right? Do and fail sometimes, do again and succeed, and you learned which way to go. Do and fail, do again and succeed, do again and succeed, do again and fail, correct, right? That's the idea that not everything is going to work, not everything is going to work as you want, but you keep going. Okay, the law of duality is there's an equal and opposite reaction to everything. So that's kind of self-explanatory, but the idea being that, you know, you can choose what you want. If you're not getting what you want, figure out a different way. Okay, here's our QR code. We have 2 words out at this point. We've got about 40 minutes left. Okay, step 5, systems. Your daily systems will take you to your goals. It's like getting a destination on a map. First, you pick where you want to go, which we talked about, right? You got to get your goals. Where do you want to be in 1 year, in 5 years? And then we have to have our why, what's going to keep us going. And then we've got to figure out how to get there. What streets, what exits, right, on a map? How do I get to where I want to go? And this can be hard in our situation, partly because there's no set way that I know of that works every time. If somebody knows one, correct me. But everybody, at least in my office, is looking for what works every time. And I can't find something that works every time with every single type of personality, with every single person. So in my mind, we're figuring out what works and we're doing those things that work. So maybe look back at your last 2 or 3 deals. Where did they come from? Were they cold calls? Were they referrals? Where did they come from? What system or systems will you employ to get you the leads and prospects you need to close enough deals so you can create a large enough margin and get on the track to becoming a millionaire? Okay, so think about your last 5 to 10 deals. Where did they come from? That can give you kind of an idea. And then, you know, what can you do to get even more leads and more prospects? Okay, I've had this in some of my other classes, but how did you choose your agent? This is a pool that we did. 43% said they knew the agent already. 29 said they were referred by a family member or friend. So that's the majority of how people choose their real estate agent. And usually they'll say that it was the first agent they talked to. So you want to be if you're not first, you're last. I hate that saying, but it's kind of the way it is in real estate and lending. Usually, if you've got a good person who's talking to them on the phone and they know how to convert, they're going to go with the first or second person they talk to. When I next need an agent, where will I go to find an agent? I've always used the one or the last one I used. So if you have a good experience, right? We want repeat customers. We want them to come back. And part of that is staying in touch with them and making sure they remember you. How many agents did you interview before you chose? 1 to 2 is the majority of what people said. Okay. The 5 key systems every agent should employ. Your SOI, right? That's something everybody talks about. So you should have a list of people in your database, people who know you, like you, trust you. That should have been one of the very first things that you did. If you don't have a database, make sure you start one. I started mine in Excel when I started working, and I would do mail merges out of Excel and out of Word, and that's how I did it. Now I have a digital one. It's called Surefire. So now I use Surefire, but I used to have just an Excel spreadsheet. So that's not a horrible thing if you're getting started and trying to write down. You should have about 200 people know you, like you, trust you. Then you're going to continue to add to that, right? Anytime you do a deal, those are people you want to keep reaching out to. Anytime you almost do a deal, and anybody you're working with right now. And then we have farms. Usually people's farm is the area where they live, but not always. And oftentimes agents will do pop buys or drop offs, and they'll try to be the agent that always lists in that neighborhood and that everybody knows. Professionals, Do you know a divorce attorney or a doctor or somebody like that that you can make sure they know that you um, do real estate and they can refer you and you can refer them? And then social media. I put social media at the bottom. If you guys have stalked me on social media, I'm not super good at it. I don't love it as much as some people. I do post every once in a while, but and sometimes like I like to go on and see what my sister's posting. She lives in Hawaii, so I don't get to see her as much. But basically you're posting things, and I feel like social media for me, correct me if I'm wrong, but for me is more of like, okay, a reminder that I'm a lender, right? And so I might post every once in a while something about lending or rates just to remind people who see it that I'm a lender. So, but there are people who do all a variety of different social media content. Some people pay people to post on social media. Um, so yeah, however if you love social media, do social media, and that can be helpful. Okay, here's some habits that would be good to develop. 6 habits that would be good. Continuous marketing, no matter what. We talked about that. Always building your business. Okay. Consistency and momentum. Think about it as like you're going up a down escalator. What happens when you stop? You're walking up a down escalator. You might get kind of high, but if you stop, you're just gonna go right back down. So think of your marketing like that, right? Once you get your momentum up, keep going. Don't stop and get back down to the bottom again. Then you got to start your momentum all over again, right? So think of your marketing like that, continuous marketing and momentum. You're always building your business. Who couldn't use 2 more deals a year or 5 more deals a year? Who couldn't use 5 more clients, right? We're always building and improving. Your power hour every day. Remember, this is diarrhea time. If that helps you remember how important it is. Nothing is going to get in your way of making sure that you do your calls and reach out to your people and work your leads. Habit number 3, always answer your phone or return calls quickly. So my goal is to always return every call within an hour. Sometimes we're in meetings, sometimes we go and do things at night. Usually I'll call back unless I'm in a play. That plays are my happy place, and sometimes I go to plays at night and I can't call back. But even in the evenings or on the weekends, my goal is to get back to people within an hour. So that's super important. Again, we talked about how many people don't answer their phone. So answer your phone and return calls quickly. Daily sharpening the saw. We talked about this. Know your stuff. Be the expert. If you don't know about something or you find something out in a deal that you didn't know about, make sure you research that. Be the expert on that for the next time. Daily and weekly planning. At the end of the day, just kind of before you quit for the day, just have a look at what's coming up for tomorrow, see if there's anything you need to do. For sure, get back to anybody who's contacted you before the day ends. And then every week, kind of look at your, maybe on Sundays, look at what's coming up for the week, anything you could add, how it's going. The habit of constantly monitoring your work and tweaking and improving. We talked about this. You have to be adjusting your trajectory all the time, or you're going to end up in a totally different location than you wanted to end up. So if something's not working, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you listen to yourself, figure out what you can do to tweak and improve. If you're doing something and you're not getting any feedback or any deals or anything, then evaluate what could I be doing different that might make this a more successful habit or a more successful plan. Preparation and planning work in a success mindset and not a survival mindset. So we're built to be in survival mode. Our brains are wired to be in survival mode. So we have to kind of go outside of that and be in a success mode. We're always improving, but we also have to give ourselves some grace sometimes and notice and accept the successes that we do have, even if we're trying to get on a higher level. Okay, let's do word number 3, consistency. So we've had 3 words. Number 3 is consistency. When you don't achieve what we want, when we don't achieve what we want in life, it's either because we are not doing the right things or we are doing the wrong things, or some combination of the previous two. That seems very self-explanatory, but it's true, right? So if we're not getting what we want, evaluate and change it. Don't keep going. And what is that saying? Like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Okay, so if we want to change something, we've got to change something that's keeping us in that trajectory. If we're running on a treadmill and we want to get off, we've got to jump off. We can't just keep running on the treadmill and hope we get off sometime. Okay, so success, F times R times C. I've had this in one of my other classes too. So frequency times reach times consistency is a success formula. How often are we reaching out? Remember, are we reaching out too many times? Are we reaching out not enough? We have to figure out the frequency that we need to be reaching out to people. And then our reach, how big is your database? Your success is going to be dependent on the size and quality of your database. Let me say that again. Your success is going to be dependent on the size and quality of your database, right? So we're building this database of people that we're sending emails to, that we're reaching out to. We want it to be as big as possible. And then there's a C, you could say consistency, you could say credibility, but we need to make sure we're credible for sure. You need to be the expert and you need to be consistent. I really think consistency is one of the most important things. Keep working, keep marketing, never stop. Okay. The beauty of habits, you only have to decide once. Once I decide that I'm going to do something, and I really decide I'm going to do something, I don't have to keep deciding that every day. Focus all your effort on creating that habit and then let that habit drive you to success. It's far easier to keep something in motion than to get something moving. Again, that thought of marketing consistency, going up a downward escalator. If I stop, I'm going to end up at the bottom again. I got to keep going, right? I want to read you this quote. It's on my wall. It says, becoming elite. It says, when does a champion become great? The obvious answer seemed to be when the individual achieves a high level of performance, such as winning a gold medal. But as I considered my own question further, I came to the conclusion that the greatness is not achieved when the result is reached, but rather long before that, when an individual chooses to do the things that he knows he needs to do. Let's stick with the Olympic athlete as an example. The athlete becomes great not when she breaks a world record and wins a medal. That's when the world recognizes her. But in reality, the event is just the evidence of her greatness. The athlete achieved greatness months, perhaps years earlier, when she decided to run the extra mile, swim the extra laps, or to perform just one jump more. I would argue that Michael Phelps didn't achieve greatness when he won his 18th gold medal or when he won his first. He became great when he decided to do the things that would allow him to win. He achieved greatness the moment he chose to put the effort into his training, spending the hours in the gym and pool, and eating the foods his body needed to instead of those he simply wanted to. The gold medal wins were simply the evidence of his greatness. Michael Phelps had actually achieved greatness many years earlier. Results are not the attainment of greatness, but simply confirmation of it. You become great long before the results show it.
I want that.
Love that quote. What?
I want that.
Okay. I'll send it out to you guys. So that's one of my favorite quotes because I can become great right now by making the choice to do the things that will get me to the things that I want to. And once I choose, then I got to do it, right? So choose now to be great and do the things you need to. I'm going to send this to you guys. It's so good. If you haven't listened to this, you should. But basically, he says, what does it take to win? Kind of the same idea. And it's really, really good. You should listen to that. Okay, let's go down here. Increase your skill set. I really like this one, right? Sharpening the saw, 30 minutes a day. You should be spending learning, improving, reading about real estate, reading books that can improve the things that you need to know to be great. As you develop your habits, skills will automatically improve. But what else are you doing to improve your skill set? This is called sharpening the saw. Set 30 minutes aside each day, read books, podcasts, seminars. This program, there's so much information out there. The successful and the unsuccessful have the same 24 hours each day. The successful are in continuous learning, continuously sharpening the saw. The unsuccessful will tell you all the reasons why they can't have the time, they don't have the time, but don't understand that by continuing to cut with the dull saw, they are ultimately spending way more time and getting way less done than the successful. So, secret is daily consistent improvement. Okay, one thing that I always like to talk about here, make sure you have an IDX compatible website. So something that shows everything from the available on the market from the MLS. Lots of people turn to Zillow, which only has roughly 70% of the listings. You have access to 100%. Be sure you're sending them to your site with your information and follow up. So you want to have a website where you can send them to and they can look at everything on the MLS and it's all on your website. Dress the part. I'm not a person who's super fancy. So if you feel the need to be super fancy, you can be super fancy. I'm not usually super fancy. I'm always clean, but I'm not super fancy. Let's see. Have a good headshot on your business card. We do headshots at our office once a year in January for free. So if you need a new headshot, watch for my emails about headshots and you can come get a headshot. They turned out really good last year. You can get reviews. Let's see, write a blog, put out regular content, social media posts. They always say 80% should be personal and 20% should be business. But again, I'm not an expert in social media. Okay. Here's a list of some books that are really, really good. I think I've handed out Atomic Habits last year or the year before. There's some really good ones. I can send you that list, and here's some other really good videos that you can watch. So number 8 is take consistent professional massive action daily. What does that mean? If you wake up in the morning and go, I'm going to take some consistent massive action today. Right? Do we wake up like that? How do you wake up in the morning? Just think for a minute. This morning when you woke up, were you like, I'm so excited for the day? Or were you like, I don't want to get up? So today I don't want to get up. I was tired today. But I want to always be that person. Okay, I've got so much to do. I'm so excited for the day, right? And that's my goal. And I have struggled off and on during my life with that. And sometimes I'll stay in bed for a day and I usually don't feel as good at the end of the day as if I got up and got some things done and went to bed, and then I can do my things at the end of the day. And I have some kids that like to sleep all day and I have others that get up in the morning and, we're all different. So I don't actually believe that one personality is better than another personality. You just have to, there's good qualities and bad qualities about, well, I wouldn't even say bad, but there's different qualities about each person. And sometimes if we're somebody who just hates the morning, we've got to figure out a way to fix that. Or if we're somebody who likes to stay up late and then we pay for it the next day, we got to make some choices to make sure that that doesn't happen. So, but the idea being that every day you're going to make a difference in your level of success by the things you do and the choices you make. In the morning, we're like on offense, at least if you're like me, right? I'm here, I'm not too tired yet. In the afternoon, I'm playing defense. Somebody needs help, or my assistant needs help, or some of my clients need help. So I try to have the things that are the most important be done in the morning. So like the calls that I need to make or the appointments I need to schedule, I try to have those done in the morning when I'm feeling not so overwhelmed and not so defensive at the end of the day where I'm just like running as fast as I can. Now, can you get everything done in a day that you want to get done? What do you think? Can you get everything done?
Depends on how big your list is. If your idea is just to make your bed, you can probably do it.
So I like to tell myself I'm never going to get everything done that I want to get done. There's always going to be something else I could do.
Especially if you're relying on a third party for something too.
Sure, sure. So there's always more to do than you have time in the day. So you have to be able to know what's the most important things and be able to prioritize your time because there's always going to be more to do. Okay. This is the thing I was trying to show you with my fingers going up, the successful versus the unsuccessful. Okay. So we're both going up and down, right? But the agents who never take off are going in a sideways, right? And so they're still leveling off, and there's still sometimes when you're going to feel more successful than other times, you're going to have more deals than other times, but you're trying to elevate your game each time instead of just up and down and up and down. Okay. Now we talked about this a little bit. It's super important. I just want to reiterate, analyze, tweak, and improve. Don't forget this step. As you go along trying to figure out, you've got to be able to analyze what's going on, what's going well. I'm going to drop off some flat. We have a barbecue every summer. Hopefully you guys are going to come. It's in Lehigh at the park. And it's just like a client appreciation event where we just invite everybody we know. We want to let everybody know that we do loans. And this year it's the park we use happens to be in my neighborhood. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna have my daughter and her boyfriend deliver door hangers to everybody in my neighborhood and invite them to this barbecue. So we have a QR code on the barbecue for everybody to like say that they're gonna come so that we know how much food. And I said, can I have my own QR code so that I can tell how many people who RSVP'd came from these door knockers? Why would I want to know that? I've never done this before. I've never done door knockers for this event.
You want to track the success of it. How effective is it?
Yeah, is this worth my time? Is it worth my time to pay or my money to pay my kids to do it? Like, is it worth it? Am I reaching more people this way than if I just emailed? So we want to know what things are working, and some things are harder to track than other things. But you want to be able to notice what's working so that you can tweak and improve it. Okay. So let's just talk about when are the best times, right? Right now, I have a weekly marketing meeting with my team. Once a week, we're talking about what's working, what everybody's working on, how's it going? Is there any questions they have for me? Is there anything we could do better? And what's coming up for our next marketing events? So we're doing that once a week right now. Um, uh, Sometimes you can do it every day. I think that gets a little bit much once you have your plan in place. But if you don't have any plan, then maybe you're working for, half an hour a day. You don't want to spend your whole day planning. Be careful because that can be easy to do. You want to spend just a little bit of time noticing what did I do today? Like Jeff said, did I get anything done? Do I feel like I made a difference? How's my list? Did I make a list? Work proactively versus reactively. You want to be doing things instead of reacting to everything that's happening to you. So try to be proactive and notice what things, if there's anything that might happen that might throw you off in the day, or and try to avoid those. No activities were created equally. So we have high value activities, that's HVAs, low value activities, preparation, and time wasters. So we want to be spending most of our time in high value activities, getting leads, those kinds of things, right? Low value activities, if there's somebody else who can do it for you, let them. Okay. Preparation is something that we need, but you need to avoid preparing and never doing. And then time wasters. How easy is it to get sucked into scrolling? I learned how to scroll last year. Like, well, I can just go through these stupid videos for a long time if I'm not careful, right? So be really careful of time wasters. How about those people that come in your office and complain about the market? right? Like sometimes I'll have people come in, they just want to chit chat about how are you doing? This is so hard, the rates are too high. Da, 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 da. Okay, I need you to leave my office because I don't have time to listen to you complain about this, right? Try to be as nice as I can. Okay, lastly, and then we'll wrap up here. Don't quit. The only way you're going to fail and not reach your goal is if you quit. So if you don't quit, you're going to be able to reach your goal. And um, you're going to have some hard times. No matter where you are, no matter if you're seasoned or not, you're going to have some hard times. You're going to get beat up sometimes. You're going to feel like you were in a boxing ring. It's the name of the game with this business. There's a lot of competition, and you need to feel like you're the best. What do you have to offer? And realize when you're going to talk to people, I have a lot to offer. They need me to negotiate. They're gonna get a better deal if they use me. They're gonna find the house that they want better if they use me. I would never buy a house without a real estate agent, right? And when people come to me and say, well, I don't know if I'm gonna use an agent, there's only a few times that I would ever recommend not. And it's usually when they're buying from family and they've already got the deal already. Other than that, there's no reason why you wouldn't want to use a real estate agent. So your guys' job is very valuable and we appreciate what you do. What is your game plan so that when things get hard or when you don't feel like working or you don't feel like you can go on, how will you continue to keep putting one step in front of the next? You need to prepare that now. So when the rain comes, you're prepared ahead of time. Okay. Well, some of you have been in the market for a long, or been in the industry for a long time, have seen really hard markets, right? Um, and if you have any idea about what rates were in the 80s and stuff like that, if you're old enough to remember some of that, they were way higher than they are now. Now, houses were a lot cheaper. I'll give you that. But they were way higher. So those are just excuses. And there are people buying, and we do have people who need help and who want to get pre-approved and who want to buy a house, and we need to find them. Failure is not about the outcome. Failure is not trying. But it's good to quit many times. Steve Jobs, sometimes it's more important what you say no to. That's a really good one to remember. So you can just get busy with lots of stuff that you say yes to. And be careful what your time is your most valuable asset. More important than money, your time. Okay, it's finite. And everybody the successful person has the same 24 hours as the unsuccessful person. Fail often, fail fast, fail forward, and I can't do it alone. I can't do it all. That's kind of what I was saying. Like, I'm not going to be able to do everything that there possibly is to do. So I'm going to have to prioritize. These are some of the reasons why people might fail, right? Not clearly defining their goals, not clearly knowing their why, not clearly defining the system. That's kind of the negative way to think about it. But care about your health. That's something that we often don't talk about in these classes. We talk about all the things we should be doing, but our health matters. You know, if you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to go and do the things that you need to do to be successful. Um, let's see. Notice your resources. Utilize your brokerages if they have resources that can help you. Don't make decisions on emotions. Make decisions based on your goals. To be successful in real estate, an agent must be known for his or her integrity. Not committing fraud is the first step. So I'm not going to go into this too heavily, but you do need to know some of the rules. And that's kind of why we do CE classes, right? We have an ethics class, we have advertising classes, we have lots of different classes so that you can make sure that you're compliant with the things you need to do. Advertising, remember, you always have to have your broker's logo on everything. So be careful. I still see disciplines in the newsletter about brokerage logos not being on things. So that's the one I always tell people. Um, there's some ways, like acting your own best interest. This is kind of the fraud, but when you come to the ethics class, you learn that be ethical, do what's best for your client, be careful. Be careful not to have be more important to get the deal than to do it right.
Hey, Eden,
Yeah,
can I say something about that?
please.
I was doing a transaction up in Mill Creek a few years ago, and it was had a lot of history with the boundary lines, and I sat down with the seller and figured it all out, and kind of had to make like an addendum to the seller disclosures. And I was dealing with a newer agent, and some of the stuff wasn't real favorable, but it was true. So I made up this addendum and said, this is the second part of the seller disclosure. And she goes, oh, I'm not going to show my client that because I really need this commission. So I was like, hey, you're new. I think the first thing you need to remember is you need to keep your license. You need to do the right thing. Anyways, it's just really one of those memories of somebody actually saying that out loud. It was horrible.
Yeah, yeah. You'll see things. If you stay in the business very long, you're going to see things like that, and you don't want to be that person. And I think it is okay to say, be careful. I think that you want to be careful. Um, I had a deal that I lost to a builder recently, which I lose a lot of deals to builders, right? Because, especially like D.R. Horton and Lennar, maybe I'm not even supposed to say their names, but some of the builders offer really good incentives and they own the mortgage companies and stuff like that. And so one of the big builders won the deal for my clients. They're from Africa and they have a little bit of a language barrier. And my agent, it closed, I think, a month ago, and my agent called me and said, um, what can we do? The lender put the property taxes as the lot, the amount of the lot, instead of the house. And then they told my clients, make sure you save $200 a month so that you can pay your taxes in November. And I said, oh, why would they do that? And they were like, because they didn't qualify otherwise. And I said, well, there's nothing you can do. And he's like, they told us they said it in a meeting with us, but I don't remember. And you as agents may not understand, even if they would have said that, what that meant. You would just assume, okay, the lender knows what they're doing. It's going to be okay, right? But my clients did not understand, and they can't afford this house now. So anyway, we do want to be super careful. There's lots of reasons why you might be tempted to do things that are dishonest. And it just isn't worth it. So I have this slide, I need to change it, but everybody knows the golden rule, so I don't. I like the platinum rule, treat others as they want to be treated. If you can learn the different personality types in this business and be able to help people feel comfortable no matter what their personality type, no matter whether they want to be explained everything or don't want to be explained anything or talk to nice or just give me the basics or however their personalities are, if you can treat people the way they want to be treated, not the way you like to be treated, then you're going to be able to connect with lots more people because you're not going to be working with people who are exactly like you all the time. Okay, remember, it's always good to go over the code of ethics and remember that we've got 5 more minutes. Know the laws. Let's see. This is one that's really good to go over, and I usually have confusion when I go over it. Gifts and inducements. So let's just real quick remember, can you give somebody money for a referral?
Yes.
Okay. How much?
250?
250. What about solicited referrals?
Zero.
Zero. Okay. So if you can't go to somebody and say, if you send me a deal, I'll give you $250. But if they send you a referral, you can give them $250. Does that make sense? So you can't ask for referrals and then give money in return, but you can give, a gift card or something to somebody because they referred. So be careful about that. Let's see, what about, can I say to my buyers or my sellers, if you list with me or buy with me, I'll give you $1,000.
Yes.
Yes. Can you give them all your commission?
Sure.
Yep. Can you give them a new couch if they
Yep.
list with you, a new TV? You can make that deal with them and do whatever you want as far as that is concerned. A closing gift is permissible. So you can bring a closing gift to your client at the table. Can you pay any of their down payment? with your
I don't
commission.
think so. I don't think so.
No. You can pay for their closing costs if you want to, or some of their closing costs, but you cannot pay any of their down payment. You can pay the down payment on your own deal. I've had agents do that with their commission. So that's a possibility. And sometimes with FHA, you can pay the down payment for your family, your kids. So I've had people do that a little bit. So just ask your lender if that's what you're thinking of before you get under contract and you say you want to do something that you can't. So be careful. Okay. And then advertising. Just remember, the name of your brokerage has to be on everything. If you're on a team, don't just put your team name, put your brokerage name. They have this one-click rule that I mean, this is actually the way it says, but if you talk to them, they'll say, I don't see any reason why you can't put your brokerage logo on everything. So I tell people, ignore the one-click rule, just have your brokerage logo on everything you put out. You don't have to identify the brokerage if the licensee advertises a property not currently listed with the brokerage in which you're affiliated. The licensee has an ownership interest in the property. The advertisement identifies the name of the individual licensee as owner, agent, or owner broker. So a few times you don't need to, but make sure you have your brokerage on everything when you're advertising. Okay, we are at the end. So we basically, every 2 hours, you get a 10-minute break, and we don't take it because I always want to get out earlier, and I'm assuming you guys do too.
You didn't give us the last two keywords.
Right. So win is our fourth word. Win, W-I-N. And then my name, Eden, is your last word. Eden.
Okay.
So win and Eden are your last two words. Okay, so either scan your QR code, fill that out, make sure you put your license in there, and then the 5 words, or email me. My email's right there. Or Thomas, will you put that link one more time in there?
What was the third one?
The third word, you only need 4. If you missed one, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
You need 4 out of the 5.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stay on for a few minutes while you guys kind of fill out this form, send an email. If you want slides, Russ, you wanted that quote. I'll take a picture of that quote and send it to you. But if there's anything else I can do for you, let me know. I'm always here to help. And I always want to help your clients. I want to help as many people as I can get into houses. It's super important. So send people my way and we'll get them pre-approved and we'll get them in a house.
Thanks, Eden.
You're welcome.
Yep,
Have a
good
good
job.
day, Russ. Have a good weekend, you guys.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
Quinn. Or Patrick, sorry.
Thank you, Eden.
You're
I would
welcome.
love, I would love to get that quote as well. I'll email you though.
Okay.
So,
Okay, yeah.
appreciate
Email
your
me.
time.
That's a good quote. Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate your time
You're welcome.
and effort. That was very good.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Eden, I'm just looking at your email address. Is that the correct spelling of after the at?
Security. No.
Oh,
I
okay.
typed too fast. Security
That's
homework.
okay.
Thank you.
Just checking.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to request for those slides.
Oh, sure. Yep. Just email me and tell me you want the slides
Beautiful.
and I'll send them over to you.
What a great class. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Glad you could come.
So Eden,
Yeah.
did you say security at securityhomemortgage.com is not right?
No, it is right, but it just was missing the I.
Oh,
So I
okay.
had spelled it wrong. You probably spelled it right because it makes sense.
Yeah. I lost. There it is.
Let's see, do we have? Oh, Chris. Chris, you want the information on the Elite Agent Zoom? Did he already get off? Let's see. I wasn't watching the discussion very well, sorry. Tammy says her first home was 13% interest.
Thank you, Eden.
You're welcome. Yes, somebody, so Ellie, I don't know if you're still on. Should an agent reveal to a buyer what assessments are coming? Yes, definitely. They should also give them the CCNRs when they're buying townhomes and condos so that they know what they're getting into. Oh, Chris.
Thank you for the class. Very good. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Sue Ellie, you are still on. Do you want to ask me the questions now or you want me to call you? Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you. I think you're still muted. Let me see if I, oh, there you go.
No, I would like to have some of my questions answered because of the problem that I've had with the Zoom. I could not get in time. I tried to so I don't
What,
know if you just could give me 1 hour in this class because it was, I don't know what it was wrong. I just kept going through everything that I could see that was
it's
wrong.
probably just because I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, just, I don't think I even gave any words until an hour in. So you should have all the words.
Oh, okay. Oh, I feel so much better. Thank you.
Sorry.
You're very
I
kind. I
struggle
appreciate
sometimes.
that.
I apologize. That was probably really
Um,
frustrating for you.
I even called James. He said,
Yeah, he came in and then that's when I let you in because I wasn't watching. I had scrolled down so I couldn't see the I'd scrolled down for some reason. Anyway, yeah, you should, do you have all 5 words?
yes, yes, I do.
Yeah, send
Yeah.
those in to me. That's what you need. We'll get you credit. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It is that the second word is grit,
Uh-huh.
Grit.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thanks for coming. Have a great day. Please email me if you need anything or want anything from me. Here to help. Have a great weekend.